Hey everyone, it's Virginia Stanley. Welcome back to another episode of Door to Door. We're glad you're here, if you're here. Joining me today are my esteemed colleagues. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Lainey Mays. Good to be here. Hope everyone's having a nice fall.
And I'm Essie Ramirez. So excited. And I also hope you're having a nice fall.
Essie, as you know, many of you met Essie at our last Facebook Live where we introduced her to all of you and you to her. And so Essie has worked with the Library Love Fest team for an entire week and she's still here.
Yeah.
And yesterday we did a live title presentation, timed, not easy to do, 22 books in 45 minutes. A little nerve-wracking for me. But of course, Lainey was great because she's dynamite. And Essie was her very first one and she killed it. So that was for Delaware. So folks out there, if you want us to come buzz your library, look us up. We'll be happy to do it. We talked to the Delaware County Library, staffers. And so that was really wonderful. It was a great opportunity for us to spread the word about some books that are coming out in the, I don't know, winter, spring. I forget what we talked about. It was so long ago. It was yesterday. And so we're going to talk about some books today. Not a ton. We know everybody's busy, but we're going to talk about a couple of books. I know we said this was fall, but it's a little bit of everything. So we hope that you're watching and we hope that you will enjoy hearing about some books that have set our hearts aflutter. Now, who wants to go first? Lainey, Essie, B?
It does not matter to me.
I vote Lainey.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, that's what I get for saying it doesn't matter, huh? Let's see. I want to talk about, before I forget, you guys, before I do this, I'm going to put an Edelweiss catalog here for you. Edelweiss catalog. There you go. We'll follow along. So I want to talk about Hello, Molly, this new memoir we have from Molly Shannon. If you're a fan of Molly Shannon from SNL, or, she did all of those, she's done so many movies. But if you are a fan of hers, you'll be very excited. But even if you're not a fan of hers, I think you would enjoy this. And it's kind of interesting to hear not only the showbiz part, what she did to get where she was, but also her backstory, because not only was her mother an elementary librarian, which was exciting. I read that when I was going, but so she has a place for librarians in her heart. But when she was young, I think 4, she was in a car accident. Her dad was driving and they lost her cousin, her little sister, and her mom in this car accident. She and her other sister survived along with her father. And that's like a big traumatic thing to go through that young and to lose your mom. But she really just took up this role of like a jokester to kind of get through her pain. And she showed that she wanted to make everyone else laugh. And it's about her growing up, going through that tragedy, what that meant in her life. It kind of reoccurs throughout the whole book, but also what it was like for her dad to raise these 2 girls. He had all of this guilt, but he also had these 2 girls to raise. And it's really, really beautiful. And she paints him in such a good, rounded light. It's easy to kind of put someone in a box and say, blame them for something, but she really loved her dad so much. He did so much for her. He was her number 1 fan. It was really sweet. And he and she had really good talks. And I mean, there was a lot of contention, there's a lot of problems, but I think that she does a good job of showing him for the flawed human being that he was, but he had some good things as well. And so you get to kind of hear that backstory in her life story, but also how she made it in Hollywood. She is so thankful for everything she has because she did the work. She talks about all the things she did to get where she was, to get on SNL and get on there at just the right time. And I have to say, I am a big SNL fan. I always have been, but reading certain parts. Like she talks about the story with Whitney Houston and how she was in a skit and she just came on and pretty much outsang her, but I was like, I don't remember that skit. So I was reading one chapter and like looking up YouTube videos of the skit, and it was really fun. It was kind of an interactive way to read the book. And like I said, it's just really cool to get the behind the scenes, but at the core, it's really a family story and a really, really sweet story. So I would recommend it to anyone. And I saw a video of her yesterday. She's just so funny. We love it. And, you know, tragedy and humor sometimes go hand in hand, and a lot of comedians are dealing with that, and she does a good job of explaining how that had an effect in her life. So that's Hello Molly by Molly Shannon. It comes out in April.
Okay. Essie, would you like to go next, or do you want me to go next?
That's a lot to follow up with, but I'll go next.
Okay.
Lainey's hard to follow. Let's see. I want to talk about The Lightning Rod by Brad Meltzer. First, I guess I'll talk about just Brad as a person, just looking at his website, and from what I hear from editors and just people who have worked with him and all these reviews that you have, I mean, everybody just seems to just love Brad. He's a charming person, very magnetic, and obviously well known and respected among his peers. A lot of people have left reviews on this book. A lot of big people like Karen Slaughter, Child. James Patterson has called it his favorite Brad Meltzer book, and in James Patterson's own words, that's really high praise, and I believe it. So it's such an entertaining book, and I haven't read the whole series, and still reading it, you don't have to. It stands on its own, and just from page one, just the way that he writes, it's so detailed and it's so human. Like everything he writes about, you can almost imagine these people and these characters and just what they're doing. It's almost as if you know who they are, people just like them. And that's only made better when you get to the two main characters who are based off the whole series to begin with, which is Nola and Zig. They're just so easy to love. They are combustible and completely mesmerizing. They're like the two people that you work with that you just know they can't stand each other, but they work together so well in the sense that they bounce off each other. It's just one constant rapid fire after another. And so I really appreciate that book for what it is. You could really see Brad's personality just shine through his characters and everything that he says and everything that he writes. It's all just really warm-hearted and fun, even though it's like a really intense and action-packed book. I love reading it. So that's The Lightning Rod, as exciting as a lightning rod would be.
Excellent. And he does have a great website, because he's got the book of heroes for boys and the heroes for girls, and he's got the I Am, and he's got this whole series for children. He's a wonderful person, really. I've met him several times. He spoke at the Texas Library Association, had people on their feet in tears, myself included. Just lovely, smart, warm, funny, and I think that really comes across on his website too. So if you want to, we don't publish all of his books, but I'm so glad that we are publishing this continuation of this series because he's a wonderful author, and just
how long since you had seen him when he came to the office the last time? Because I met him too with you that last time.
Right.
How long had it been since you had seen him?
That was a TLA. I think I have to look it up. Was it 8?
So like a couple years.
Oh yeah.
Because he came in, and I have to say, he came right to you. It was like, Virginia, TLA. It was so fun, and like came up to me. Was like, oh, you must work with Virginia. Like he was the nicest person to be like, in my household, my dad, my brother love his shows, and so I was just like a little starstruck to see him. And he was just the kindest person, and I had never met him before.
Yeah, that's so funny, Lainey. And it was true. It was like, I didn't expect him to remember me. He sees a million people.
Not that I didn't think he would remember you. It's just kind of like TLA, or like already had it in his like he knew, like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I know. I have to look it up, but it was definitely a bunch of years ago that he spoke there, and it just blew him away. I'm actually trying to look it up, and I can't find it. But
I didn't mean to throw you
yeah,
off.
he's a
Sorry.
sweet, sweet, sweet man. Anyway, Brad Hooper, sweetie pie. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a book that stay with me on this one. You stayed with me on Kevin Wilson's Nothing to See Here, you know, that wonderful book about the kids that sort of go on fire. They smolder and then they spark and they go on fire when they get upset. Who doesn't? I mean, how many times have you been in a grocery store and you've seen kids just lose their minds? It's the equivalent of going on fire. Anyway, in that book, they do go on fire, but they're never really hurt, and the fire goes out and they get on with their lives. It's a fabulous book. Fabulous book. Kevin Wilson's Nothing to See Here. Just wonderful. So keep that in mind. If you haven't read that, you should. You really, really should, because it's just so much, such great, I don't know. It's just a great story, and it's a great message about what makes a family. And, you know, like there are just people out there that you have to, you know, you've got to try and understand them. And anyway, so Run, Don't Walk, Ken Wilson. Now, Run, Don't Walk, Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, this woman that you see right here. So this book is coming out. Lainey, when's it coming out? I don't know. May. Can't wait. It is it's a debut, and it's about a woman, a woman whose husband has died, and her son, her 18, I think it was 18-year-old son, went missing like 30 years ago. Went on a boat in the Puget Sound and never came back. Now her husband dies and she's alone, and so she takes a job working at the local aquarium, where she just needs to stay busy. And so she's there at night mopping and, you know, tidying up, and she is just sort of like taken by this octopus that is in the aquarium. And this is this very, you know, sort of outrageous, the strange conceit that if you allow yourself to go with it, you're going to be swept away in this really charming book about friendship. And there's a little mystery there, because the octopus is much smarter than anybody would know an octopus to be, and he becomes enamored of the woman too, and so he knows her sadness. He knows about this missing son, and he thinks he might know a thing or two about where this son is. All right, sounds crazy, I know. It is absolutely beautiful, and everybody who's read it loved it, including me. It's also funny. All right, so I want to just, I'm not going to let this go. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. We won it in a heated auction, and super glad we got it. As I say, there's a mystery at the core of this book, and her 18-year-old son went missing, and she becomes quite smitten with Marcellus, who is the giant Pacific octopus living at the aquarium. And Marcellus deduces what may have happened to her son the night that he disappeared. So, readable, full of wit, full of humor, friendship. It's a great book club book. The raves are pouring in, kids. No joking. Cynthia D'Apri-Sweeney, who wrote Good Company and The Nest, says, I don't know how Shelby Van Pelt managed to make this uncommon tale sing so beautifully, but sing it does, and I defy you to put it down once you've started it. Kevin Wilson, he says it's a beautiful examination of how loneliness can be transformed, cracked open with the slightest touch from another living thing. Okay, I'm just going to do this because I can. And here's the galley. That's so good. Now, I'm going to read one page, okay? Hear me out. One page. Get ready. I'm going to put my light on because I can't see. And I hope you can't hear the guy outside who is I don't know what he's doing out there. He's mowing grass, he's cutting down trees. No idea. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh, oh, okay. Here we go. Ready? Day 1,299 of my captivity. Oh, this looks so creepy with the thing. I'm gonna turn it on. Can you guys hear the mowing out there? Is it crazy? Should I keep going?
It's
You
not
should.
terrible.
You should.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Lainey, should I?
Yeah.
That sounds like a chainsaw, which is spooky season, I guess, but it's fine. I can hear it anymore.
All right. I mean, I could throw a rock at him, but it's not gonna make him stop. All right, here we go. Day 1,299 of my captivity. Darkness suits me. Each evening, it's too loud, isn't it? Is it too loud?
You can really hear it.
No? Okay,
I think it's
I'll start again. This is from Marcellus, the octopus. Day 1,299 of my captivity. Darkness suits me. Each evening, I await the click of the overhead lights, leaving only the glow from the main tank. Not perfect, but close enough. Almost darkness, like the middle bottom of the sea. I lived there before I was captured and imprisoned. I cannot remember, yet I can still taste the untamed currents of the cold open water. Darkness runs through my blood. Who am I, you ask? My name is Marcellus, but most humans do not call me that. Typically, they call me that guy. For example, look at that guy. There he is. You can just see his tentacles behind the rock. I am a giant Pacific octopus. I know this from the plaque on the wall beside my enclosure. I know what you're thinking. Yes, I can read. I can do many things you would not expect. The plaque states other facts, my size, preferred diet, and where I might live were I not prisoner here. It mentions my intellectual prowess and penchant for cleverness, which for some reason seems a surprise to humans. Octopuses are remarkably bright creatures, it says. Title. It warns the humans of my camouflage, tells them to take extra care in looking for me in case I have disguised myself to match the sand. The plaque does not state that I am named Marcellus, but the human called Terry, the one who runs this aquarium, sometimes shares this with the visitors who gather near my tank. See him back there? His name's Marcellus. He's a special guy indeed. Terry's small daughter chose my name, Marcellus McSquiddles, in full. Yes, it is a preposterous name. It leads many humans to assume I am a squid, which is an insult of the worst sort. How shall you refer to me, you ask? Well, that is up to you. Perhaps you will default to calling me that guy like the rest of them. I hope not, but I will not hold it against you. You are only human after all. I must advise you that our time together may be brief. The plaque states one additional piece of information. The average lifespan of a giant Pacific octopus, 4 years. My lifespan, 4 years, 1,460 days. If that is accurate, I shall die here in this tank. 160 days remain until my sentence is complete.
I love him.
Pretty great.
I just love it. He reminds me of my
What
old
line
English
is it?
teacher.
What's that?
He reminds me of my old English teacher.
The squid?
Yeah,
I
just
mean, not the squid, the octopus. The octopus is not a squid. Don't get them confused. Piss off Marcellus.
Yeah, that's nothing to see here is definitely a good comp. I think like I can just see the reader picking that up. And nothing
Oh
to see
my,
here was one like I would give to anyone. I'd put it in the. You know what also sounds like a good comp is separation anxiety.
yes. I love that book by Laura Zigman. That's such a fabulous book about this woman whose life has just got a big old void in it because the husband and the son are sort of, off doing their things. And she has a dog and she puts it in a little carrier and carries him around for a little baby sling, whatever. It's so good. It's such a good book. But this is such a good book. I mean, that's just, you get the idea here. Marcellus is nobody's fool. And he is elevated and he is, and he and this woman at the center of the book, Tova, they get each other. It's really good. And it's very funny. Okay. Thank you for listening to me, despite the fact that they were cutting down trees outside. in Astoria, Queens.
I wonder, not doing it on my street yet in Astoria. So it's probably coming.
It's coming. It's coming. All right, Lainey, what you got?
Okay, a fall book like we promised. Here, I just wanted to tell you about this one so that you don't let it pass you by, much like the parade. So this is The Teller of Secrets by B.C. Ajapon. So this is a special book. It's a debut novel. It's based on, well, she had a short story called Of Women and Frogs and Of Women and Frogs. It was nominated for a Kane Prize. Her writing's been featured in a lot of newspapers and journals like Washington Times and Daily Graphic. And so she's got a lot of support in the writing community, but this is her debut novel. It is about a feisty Nigerian Ghanaian girl. She's growing up in the late 60s in post-colonial Ghana, and her name is Essie. And she is kind of the unofficial secret keeper. She's kind of precocious, but she is an unofficial secret keeper of her family. So she sees everything that's going on. Her half sisters are kind of exploring their bodies and have their own boyfriends, etc. And so she sees that. She also is weirdly wrapped up in her father's adultery. He's having an affair, but he chooses to make sure she keeps it a secret. And so as she's the secret keeper and she starts to kind of figure out her own, sexual exploration and growing up and coming of age, she is kind of told to tamp that down. And she's kind of she starts to question like why her own experiences are not as important, especially of the men in her life, and they bear different consequences. And so this one thing happens in particular, and she really doesn't understand why there is that difference. But as that all is happening, you kind of get this backdrop of 60s Ghana and seeing what that life is like. It looks at like societal pressure, gender expectations, and bicultural tension that is there. But the voice, especially of the young narrator, is very witty and alive and emotional. And so we're very excited because this book is going to open up a lot of stories from that part of the world. She is a part of this new emerging group of writers in West Africa, like I had said, and they're becoming more celebrated and recognized. And she's going to be like this distinctive voice in that group, bringing really a new light to this part of the world. And the second book is coming fall, hopefully still fall of 2022. And she's going to be a really important house author for us. So we really didn't want you to forget about this one because it comes out in November. And it's a Harper Via title, which if you aren't aware, that's our imprint that is committed to telling tales from around the world. So this is kind of a natural fit for that imprint. And Harper Via has been really knocking it out of the park lately with some really good books from around the world that are translated or not, but they're just showing different parts of the world. So this is a Harper Via title. And yeah, we're excited. We're excited to have a second one too. Oh, and sorry, I forgot. There's so many great quotes. There's this Booklist starred review. Breathtaking, ultimately takes control of her. Essie ultimately takes control of her body, her mind, and her whole being in ways that will merit a fist pump among feminists everywhere. Like that one. It's a Booklist starred review. And then Publishers Weekly. It's a sharp, observant, and often bitingly funny. Captures a country divided by class, ethnicity, and political loyalty, and a character who must have a chance to soar on the winds of social change. This is a winner. Publishers Weekly starred review. There's so much love, like Maza Mengiste, Dave Eggers. I mean, there's so many great quotes for this book. So don't let it pass by.
Like the parade.
Like the parade.
Gypsy. Not Gypsy. Hello, Dolly. What am I saying? or Lainey. Hello, Lainey.
Forgot about that. Isn't it weird that Barbara Streisand has 2 famous parade songs? But anyway.
Yeah, these are things we should discuss.
Yeah, they're important, I think.
No joke. Before the parade passes by. We have some comments and questions. Popeye. Okay, somebody said they couldn't hear it over the lawnmower. I hope they were kidding. What is the title again? What? Oh, my title? Susan Riley wants to know. If you're talking about my octopus book, it's Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Remarkably Bright Creatures. Okay, where can we get an arc of that book? Do you mean Remarkably Bright Creatures? Lainey, do we have any sense?
We just put the order in, so we have a little bit. I would say a good indication is when the e-galley goes up on Edelweiss. It's usually when we have the physical one. But either way, I can look into the e-galley and see if I can get you an answer by the end of the segment today.
That'd be great. And honestly, would love to hear what you all think. So, I mean, you don't have to love it because we do, but you know, let us know what you think. We want to hear from you. So, and good. I'm glad it captures your attention. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. I mean, obviously, it's a bigger message here. So, but wrapped up in the tentacles of an octopus. What's to lose? Essie, do you want to go next?
Yeah. All right. So the next book that I want to talk about is called Hunt the Stars by Jessie Mihalik. I really just love her writing, and I also just love her story. Like, as a writer myself, she's just really inspiring. She, on her website itself, she has what's called a like my path to publication page, which just shows all about just the struggle that you go through as a writer to get to being published and to get to this point in her career, which is amazing. And she's just really relatable, and she's the person who like would write for NaNoWriMo, which if you're a writer, you would know what that is. It's National Writing Month, and just completing a book in a month is such an accomplishment, and a lot of us can't do it. I haven't yet. And it's just reading about her being as relatable as she is, you can tell that that's kind of, it just influences her writing because everyone else she writes about is the same way. And where did I just read this? I really just appreciate her, not as an author, but also just as a person, because she's an engineer and she is like, she codes and she appreciates coding just as much as writing. And I just always love when science fiction authors just have some sort of science background and they're able to take like and pull inspiration from, you know, just what they know in their own fields and just propel it into this crazy, awesome world that they create themselves. It's just mind power operating at warp speed. Sorry, that was a little nerdy. Okay. But anyway, as far as Hunt the Stars goes, it's just the Mandalorian with romance. It's super sexy and super fun, and her writing is just really wonderful. Her characters, especially like her female characters, her main character is just such a badass. And there are so many parts in the book that I've read so far that are just, you know, her character will say something and I'm just cheering like, yes, that's exactly what I would have said or what I would have hoped to have said. I don't know if I could be so bold, but she's like, everything from her dialogue to the way that she describes this world and the Balofs, and just, I mean, she's written other series before and this is a brand new series, so it's just so much fun to dive into it and get to know all these people. And I don't know if anyone here has ever seen the show Firefly, but it almost reminds me of Firefly because it's just all these unique, fun characters that if they met in some sort of cosmic space bar, they probably would not have gotten along at all. But just because they're all on the same ship, they're like family, and that's awesome. So it's definitely, it's really fun. It's made for a more mature audience, I would definitely say, because it's steamy, but it's also just really fun.
Okay. And somebody asked, can you put, can you post the Edelweiss link again?
Yeah. It should be at
Okay.
the top of those comments. I'll put it again at the bottom. Pin it.
Beautiful. Nice, Essie.
All right, it
see
is
how-
pinned.
All right, pinned comment. Good going, Essie. That was nice. It's nice when you have the luxury of time to talk a little bit more about the books, not that crazy,
Yeah.
beat the clock.
Yeah.
You kids are too young for that, but it was a fabulous show on the television. Remember television? Woo! All right. I'm going to talk about By Design. This is by Piper Hughley, who you may know. She is, we have it up there. Yeah, she is, she writes the Home to Milford College and the Migrations of the Heart series. She's won the she's been a Golden Heart finalist. As she sort of switched gears here with this really incredible book about Anne Lowe, who is the Black woman who designed Jacqueline Kennedy's wedding dress. Now, she is was the granddaughter of slaves, and how so what I think is so cool about this book is that the premise is already there. You know who she was. You're told up front. That's why you would pick this book up. I mean, how did this happen? How did this woman go from this really rough beginning, really rough, to being the designer for Jacqueline Kennedy's wedding dress? How does that happen? It did happen. And this is, while it's a novel, it's historical fiction. This author has really done her homework. She's done terrific research. She's an English professor at Clark Atlanta University. And she's really painted a very vivid picture of this woman and her family, her lineage. Her grandmother, as I say, was a slave. Her mother and grandmother were both seamstresses. And so that's where she learned her craft, but she's also a gifted designer. So this doesn't come into play until later on in her life because she has a rough beginning. She is married at 12 years old. And it's insane. And it's a way out, but it's not really, because he's an alcoholic and she becomes pregnant. And I'm not giving anything away, just to sort of paint the picture of what her early beginnings were. And her dreams were just, thwarted until they weren't, because, well, I won't tell you why. You'll just have to read the book. This is her story. This is her journey. And it's really remarkable. And it's a story that needs to be told because she was sort of an unsung hero. I mean, now people are saying, oh, Anne Lowe, you're right. You're doing that book about Anne Lowe. And so it's wonderful that people, that name recognition is there. It's percolating. But, it's a story that I'm glad it's written now. It needs to be read. So again, it is, I guess you can call it historical fiction. It's the story of Anne Lowe, novelized. So fictionalized. You've got to read it. It's really, it's quite powerful. And yeah, it is amazing, says Valerie Bush Stoge. You've got to read it. And I can't wait to have this author out on the road or on Facebook Live to talk about her research and tell us more about this woman and how this came to be. And it is fascinating. It really, really is. I'm so taken by this book. So that's my second book today that I want to talk about. And if we have a lightning round, I'll tell you about a third. But boy, By Design, Piper Hughley, do. Check this out. It is, Lainey, when's it out? I didn't put any of my dates down.
It is out on June 7th.
See? So we're not talking about fall. So good. So we have all this time to build it up and let you all, hopefully you'll read it and read the bright, remarkably bright creatures. I was going to say bright, remarkable creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. It's so good. Okay. Now we've each done 2, correct?
Yep.
What time do we have? Do we have time to talk about some more? Let's do a lightning round real quick. Let's do one each.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, speaking of remarkably bright creatures, so I asked about the e-galley. The physical galley is not in until December, so I asked, and they said soonish. So keep an eye out. We'll let you know probably in the next week or two. But
Yeah, I have a bound manuscript. That's what I have there. So that's not a.
they said
not
it's
out.
going into production, so it should be very soon.
Okay.
So
All right. So it's 2:37. We've managed to talk about 6 books in 40 minutes. I love this pacing, but I think that we should go real quick around the clock, around the room, around the virtual room, and say a book.
yeah, I mean, I can talk about Angels of the Pacific really quickly. I'll try to keep it short. It's hard.
Okay.
But I am literally reading this right now. We love Halise Hooper, who, if you aren't familiar, I think my notes went away, guys. There they are. So Elise Hooper wrote The Other Alcott and Learning to See and Fast Girls, which is about the Olympics and women in the Olympics, which is really fun. She does great historical fiction. She's come to several of our conferences and she's just so lovely and she does it so well. I think she also is really, it's interesting because she likes to highlight women's stories in history. And this is a World War II book, but it's set in the Philippines. The real women nurses, a group of army nurses who were caught there during World War II, and they were in 4 years of imprisonment and internment, and after they had fought several years in the war. So not only were they kind of rocked with like constant help, it was kind of like a glamorous position in the Philippines, and then the war took over and the Japanese invaded and these nurses were thrown into war. So much that when the Japanese got that, they were very surprised to see women there. They didn't even know women would be there, much less being in the nursing field. But they were thrown into this war so tired, and then they were captured and have to wait out the war there. But it's about a woman who's a nurse and then another woman who is a Filipino nurse and her sister who is in the resistance. And so it's all about the ground up, how they fought back to save it. But they also do a lot of the espionage that they did that is really specific to women, like sewing things in clothes or linens. Like men wouldn't think to check that, like women were so vital in this and did a big part and kind of like underestimated. And so Elise does a really good job of highlighting that. Also in the Philippines, you don't really see a lot of World War II books, the historical fiction that is set there. So it's a new place. She did a lot of research. She always does so much research for her books and always has great things to show, pictures. In the back of the book, there's a PS section with pictures. She interviewed Navy nurses in the Philippines. Like, it's a really, really cool read. And I'm pretty engrossed in it right now. I can't wait to get to the end. So Angels of the Pacific, and that comes out in March.
Lots of love for that one. Lots of love here.
She's great.
Yeah, she is great. Nice person too.
Yeah. And she used to be I think a history teacher or English teacher. She's a teacher. And so every time I meet her, I'm like, she gets those book talks. She's got them. She's good at it.
Yeah.
She knows what people want to hear about.
And she knows how to tell it. Essie, do you have another one to talk about?
Well, it didn't, but I could talk about the Paris apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that book. I can't even say I love that book. I haven't read it yet, but I'm so excited for the e-galley to come out. I was told that all I would have to say is Lucy Foley, and that would be enough to make people want to read it, but I want to say a little bit more. Honestly, it's just, I know a lot of people love the guest list, and definitely they love the guest list. It sold over 1.5 million copies, but this is just the guest list moved to Paris. Sorry, UPS decided to come today. To summarize, yeah, not for me. It's never for me. To summarize, a woman goes looking for peace of mind, and instead she just finds that her brother is missing, and all of his neighbors are just suspicious. They all seem to have something to hide. And so given that it all takes place in one apartment building, it does have a bit of a rear window thing going on for anybody who's a fan of that concept. And also for anyone who's a fan of Louise Penny and Sherry LaPena, this is just right up their alley. And Lucy, she excels at writing escapist thrillers. And it's just, and this is escapism at its best. You just are thrown from our world to her world, and it's amazing. It's right from page one. She just takes you off. And I would also just like to throw in that Lucy, she's just a great person. Like, she's the writer that you want to fall in love with as far as her writing, because she just goes the extra mile for all of her readers. And she's the person who'll write bonus materials for everyone, or she'll stay up to do a book club girls night in until midnight. Like, it's almost like your best friend wrote a book and you love their work, and it's like, yes, show me more. And she does. She's just really great. She's a good person to follow and read, and I'm just so excited for this book. I can't wait for it. And I don't know when it comes out, actually. Do we know?
February 22nd.
February 22nd. Good. A creepy read just in time for Valentine's Day.
Oh my God. That's great. Excellent. All right. One more, and then we'll just tell you quickly about next Tuesday, and then we'll say, so yeah. Okay, so you've heard me talk about this book before, but you know what? I'm gonna talk about it again. 2 seconds. Bright Burning Things, Lisa Harding. You're all like, oh, she's still yammering on about that book. Yes, I am, because it's amazing. And you need to read it if you haven't read it, please. It's the American debut for this Irish writer who has written a book that was in the UK called Harvesting, and that was that had won multiple awards there. But this is her American debut, and we actually talked to her on Facebook Live. This is a story about a woman who, Sonia, who was was an actress, and she had a great, fun, crazy life, hard partying, and all that. But lost it all to blackouts and hazy nights and hangovers. She had her failed career and a childhood trauma, and all of that led up to a lot of drinking. She's a single mother. She has a young son, Tommy, and there's a real pull between the drink and her boy, and something has to give, because she is overdoing it and putting his life and safety, I would say, at peril. And it's raising concerns from neighbors and family, and it's powerful. It's Shuggie Bain-esque, but different, because it's a look at an addict's journey and rehabilitation and redemption. Oh my God, this book is so good, so powerful, and I don't know. I just loved it because she loves her boy so much, and she can't live without him. I mean, it's suffocating. There's Lisa Taddeo says it's a claustrophobic read. The lawnmower guy's back. Lisa Taddeo says on every page there are little shimmering bombs. That's Lisa Taddeo, #1 author of 3 Women. I have some more quotes here. Hang on a minute here. Marion Key says, absolutely dazzling. While the subject matter is dear to my heart, I'd have loved it even if I knew nothing about addiction. It's instantly engrossing. Sonia's emotional interiority is fascinating and compelling. PW gave it a starred review. She's just so smart and real, and it's just an authentic read. That's it. And you as Marion Key says, you don't need to know anything about addiction. Though be hard pressed to swing a cat and not find somebody who's not touched by addiction. But boy, is it good, and it is powerful and compulsive. And it's a love affair. It's a love affair with her son. It is not a love affair with the bottle. The bottle is the addiction. Really good.
And the audio, somebody just mentioned the audio, which we'll get that to you, but the audio was so good. I listened to the audio, and you can get it as an advanced ALC on that Gallery Edelweiss.
Oh yeah.
Check that, because the author reads it. She's a voice. She's an actress, so when she reads it and gets the voice so well. And yeah, I feel like anything Marian Keyes quotes, I'm like, I want to read that. Like she's such a good blurber.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Carla Suda. Saw that interview with Lisa Harding.
Yeah.
And that was, thank you, Jennifer Monahan, Winberry, for saying so too. Yeah, really, really good. And yes, I neglected to say that the author herself had been an actress, and as Lainey said, does the audio. If you go to hc.com and type that in, you can hear a snippet. Right, Lainey? Is it on there?
I'm not sure, but you can get it on Edelweiss or NetGalley, the full
You get the whole
audio.
thing on. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. Okay, so those are our books. Next Tuesday, Lainey, tell them what we've got.
Oh, a little tip about audio, just side
Mhm.
note, if you want to know about new books that are coming, our audio department, who we did a great podcast with for the second time, you guys should go listen. I'll put a link in. But they, every week on Tuesday when a book's releasing, they do a playlist of like 5-minute clips from every book. And it's really cool. So if you want clips from audiobooks that you think you might like, go to SoundCloud and put in Harper Audio. A little tip for you. But
SoundCloud, Harper Audio. And we could put it, can't we put it on Library Love Fest too?
Like on our SoundCloud page?
I don't know. Sure.
Maybe, but I'll definitely put the audio for the podcast, and you'll hear how to find them there.
Okay. And one last thing, as Lainey mentioned, we spoke with our Harper Audio folks, and how many listens do we have on that, Lainey? Like thousands.
Look, well, the first one we have, I think 4,500, and then this last one 1,000 today exactly.
It's so good. You guys have got to listen to this, because not only does it give you snippets, he plays snippets from different audiobooks, but you get to hear all the ins and outs of like what happened behind the scenes. And it's really cool. It's very cool. And he has a very great voice too. So highly recommend. Lainey, can you put the link in there?
I have the podcast up, and then I also will link to the audio SoundCloud so you guys can check out the clips for the newly released books. They curate those obviously every week, but it's new. It's fun.
It's cool. Yeah. Okay. So now, very good, Lainey. I'm glad you mentioned that. Next week, Jillian Cantor, author of Beautiful Little Fools. We are going to have her on Door to Door. Lainey, do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Sure. Yeah. So Beautiful Little Fools is, if you're a Great Gatsby fan, you know right off the bat what it's about. Because there's a great quote by Daisy in The Great Gatsby where she says she wants her daughter to just grow up to be a beautiful little fool. And this is a retelling of The Great Gatsby from the women's points of view. So there's 3 women, 2 you know pretty well. One is a newer character that's only mentioned a bit in the first book. She's Myrtle's sister, and she is a woman fighting for her rights. And then the other 2 women are Jordan Baker and of course Daisy Buchanan. So you get to go back and forth in time. There's a mystery at the start of the book because it ends on the last part of the original book when sorry, I hope it's not spoiling anyone. This book's been out for a while, but when Gatsby's dead. And the police officers find a hairpin, a diamond hairpin in the grass. They decide maybe a woman is actually in on this, and it's not as cut and dry as it seems. So then it goes back and forth in time when Daisy meets Gatsby, and it's really cool. I encourage anyone before next Tuesday to go read her behind the book essay on Edelweiss, and I'll put a link because it's really cool to find out like what she actually wanted to know. And even when they launched this book, I remember everyone in our sales force, someone wrote in the comments like, I was just rereading Gatsby and thinking like, what do the women think about this? Like, they're not even in this. And so it's really nice to have their point of view. And Jillian's great. She's at Day of Dialogue if anybody was there. and she did a great panel. So we're very excited.
Yeah, that's and she's just terrific. So I don't know. Yeah, we were talking, and Lainey, great idea. I mean, anybody can download and read it and join in the conversation, sort of like an unofficial book club for next Tuesday. Throwing down that gauntlet. Yeah. And we haven't forgotten the idea of a book club. We threw it out there and you all were like, yeah, let's do it. So we're going to do it. Just have to figure out how, but we will. And we will get back to you with details. But let's do a soft launch on a book club. Read this book, download it about a week, and have questions for Jillian Cantor, who is the loveliest woman. We've had her on before, and she's just fantastic. So we hope you can join us next Tuesday, 2:00. And it's 2:52. This is my kind of pacing. Yeah. Essie, Lainey, good going. We have anything we want to say before we peace out?
Just put in the behind the book essay in there for them. There you go.
That I'm so glad you thought of that, Lainey. That behind the book piece essay is so enlightening.
Yeah.
It really does show you like what, how long ago have you loved this book? For forever you've loved this book. Why did you love this book? What made you think to do this? It's really cool. Read that first, and then you'll probably be like, all right, let me read this thing and see what's going on.
Yeah. Even if you're not a fan of The Great Gatsby, like you can just read it on its own. You don't have to know the book, because she introduces that new well, not new, because she's obviously mentioned once or twice, but this kind of new character to you. And Jillian's really good, like thematically, she talks a lot about like what could be, and like time, and what kind of sliding doors, like we talked about in her last book. And so that'll be cool to dive in with her.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be fun. Very cool. So thank you, Lainey. Thank you, Essie. Librarians, thanks for joining in. It's always fun to just sit around the campfire. Oh, speaking of campfire, Jennifer, are you still here? Jennifer Winberry? Look, I have my little fire with my little drunken gnomes. Yes, I do.
Happy late birthday, Jennifer. It was Friday.
Happy late birthday.
That's exciting.
Yes, we'll blow out candles. I don't know. Okay, I think that's it. So unless anybody has anything else, I think we will sign off. And thank you both. Thank you all again for joining in and for sharing your comments. So anything we can do to get books to you, galleys, whatnot, just let us know. We're here. We're not going anywhere. Nope. All right. Well, be well, be safe. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yes, Jennifer.